What's going on, everybody, and welcome to J Sports Seattle. Once again, gotta apologize for the hiatus, but then again, it's okay to have a hiatus. The Seahawks aren't really playing right now. It's kind of the dead part of sports. Uh, Spring training doesn't start for a minute, and I still need to make a video on a Kraken, but I have not at all been able to get a chance to make a video on the Kraken. Maybe I can make one after this. I have been following them. I know they kind of haven't been doing the best under the head coach's first year. We just waived Grubauer, but I can make a video about that if you really want me to. But I do say go Kraken at the end of my videos, and I only have one video out for the Kraken, so I have to make more videos on them. So, but that's for another time. But in this video, I'm going to be just talking about what's been going on the past couple of weeks, try to get everything that's happened, put my take on it. So this is going to be probably going to be a long video because there is a lot to talk about. So tune in. And so let's get started. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more Seahawks and Seattle sports content. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. All right, so the Seahawks have been pretty busy the past couple of weeks. A lot of things have been going on. The Senior Bowl was last week, or I think the Senior Bowl might be today, low key, February 2nd, I believe. Oh, no, it was yesterday. So the Senior Bowl was yesterday, and I'll get to this in a second. But firstly, I got to talk about the elephant in the room, our new offensive coordinator. So the Seahawks decided to go the direction of Clint Kubiak as the offensive coordinator instead of going for a position player on a team that's made the NFC Championship or AFC Championship or made a deep playoff run this year. Like we did last year with the head coach in the Ravens when they made the AFC Championship. This year we decided to go for another offensive coordinator that just made a lateral move on a team that has fired their head coach and is looking to rebuild and restart. So this is a good hire. I wanted Hank Franklin because of what he could do to this O-line, but I was also in favor of hiring Clint Kubiak as well because of his history, and just the fact that he has not been given a fair shot because of he's been put in bad situations. So, firstly, let's go over how the Saints did last year. So how did the Saints offense perform? So in the first 2 weeks of the season, they scored 90 points in blowout wins over the Panthers and Cowboys. But that came down to earth, as it says, hard and heavy. That's because they had their team got nuked. Much like the Niners did this year, their team got nuked. They lost Carr, their starting quarterback. They lost Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, and eventually, Alvin Kamara, who on top of getting hurt is also getting up there in age. So, and they lost offensive line starters. So their entire offense was just gone. And, there's not really much you can do as an offensive coordinator when your entire offense is just gone on IR most of the season. Look at the Rams back in 2022 with Sean McVay, who was a head coach and has already won a championship. He had literally everybody hurt, and not just on offense, but on defense as well, but mainly on offense since he's the one calling the plays. And look how the offense performed. It was horrible. It only scored 18 points per game that year. You got there's only so much you can do with backup level players when your entire team is hurt. So there's, we got to take a look at this, take a grain of salt. You got to take a look at these. Oh crap, my internet just crapped out. But okay, even if it did, I can figure that out after I end this video. But regardless, this is not something that we should really take a look at and say, oh, well, we made a bad hire. It's because that team was completely gone. And then even though Spencer Rattler didn't do the best, he broke the Saints rookie receiving yard record in a season. So, that's got to mean something, right? And also, on top of that, back in 2023, you want to know who he was the quarterback's coach of? the San Francisco 49ers. And how did Brock Purdy do under that year? In that year under him, he had a breakout season. Now, granted, that was probably a lot of that was Shanahan, but I don't know if he was the quarterback's coach or the pass game coordinator here. You know what? Let me pull it up. Pass game coordinator is actually is a bigger role than quarterback coach. So yeah, so he was the passing game coordinator in 2023, and Purdy had that great year, and he learned under McVay for a year, not McVay, Shanahan for a year, and he was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. That didn't go the best, but the Vikings were the Vikings that year. So, and then let's not talk about this. Nathaniel Hackett is one of the worst coaches of all time. So he doesn't really get blame here. But Nathaniel Hackett was calling the plays, and I'm sure he probably had a lot of say in the game planning after he was fired. And then passing game coordinator. Like I said, Shanahan was probably calling the plays, but he learned under Shanahan for a year. And Brock Purdy did have a great game, or a great season that year. And then this year, he had a great 2 seasons, very small sample size, but then you got nuked with injuries. So it's an incomplete product that year, basically. And then now we're here in Seattle. And even if the Saints were healthy, we would have... I feel like our roster would get an edge over them because we have many more wide receivers that we can use, and we have great running backs who are more in their prime versus Kamara, who's older. The only issue is that O-line, but I would assume that we are going to address the O-line this year because this year it's more of this year really amplified how bad we have been neglecting the O-line for the past. Probably 15 years, to be honest. Even when the year we went to the Super Bowl, we didn't have a top 10 O-line. It was maybe average at best. And then that's with an average O-line. So we have one of the worst in the league. If we just get back to average, or even outperform ourselves and go above average, we're gonna win a lot more football games. And that's just how it works. You have to win the trenches. That's the reason why the Ravens are so good. Even though they had an early exit, they ran into Josh Allen, who I thought was going to go to the Super Bowl this year, potentially. And the Lions, speaking of which, the Lions, man, they disappointed me because I was actually really rooting for them to go to the Super Bowl, and they lost to Washington. Granted, Washington is a very, very good team under Dan Quinn. They surprised me a lot. They surprised the league a lot. They were one of the very few, pleasant surprises in the league to see. I don't really have anything against Washington. They've been pretty bad ever since I've been a fan of football. So it's good to see them make the NFC Championship for the first time since I don't even know when, for decades it seems like. Their first playoff win since 2005. I do know that, but other than that, I don't know. I digress. I don't even know what I was talking about before, but it's okay. But there is another thing that I wanted to point out. I guess I can point out here. So we have a pass game. We had a pass game coordinator on the offensive side, Jake Peets. But there was one thing I noticed I was missing that a lot of other teams have in the league. We do not have a run game coordinator, and I think that's a problem because having a run game coordinator, obviously it's up to the OC it's usually up to the OC to call the plays, but having a run game coordinator just gives you an extra guy, and especially that can oversee everything with the run game, and potentially could have influence on potentially having calls played. If they want to use zone, they can use zone runs. So we'll see what happens if we hire a run game coordinator with Clint. I hope we do, because I feel like that would help our run game a lot. But I feel like in this draft, with the 18th pick, we're kind of in a very bad spot when it comes to picking because we're not top 10. We're not even top 15. We are the highest team. We are the highest draft pick of it. We have the highest draft pick of any non-playoff team, which is an oof. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, I just hope John Schneider can somehow pull some miracles and know how to pick the right player there. So if you trade back, I guess that's fine too, and get more picks. That's fine. But I want to talk about Mike for a second about this. So uh, this last year he didn't go anywhere because he was trying to figure out his coaching situation, and like hiring his like his coaches, like defensive coordinator and OC. But this year, since most of his coaching staff is still intact, he decided that he would go hands-on at the Senior Bowl this year. And this is what you want to see from a head coach. I mean, this is nothing new. A lot of coaches do this. But, like, to see a guy of his caliber and how young he is to be so devoted and committed to wanting to find the players that fits his scheme, that shows the work ethic that this dude has and shows what he can be for this team. Like I said, the future is in good hands. And I would assume that he's going to, even though John Schneider has complete say, I would assume that he is going to have influence, and John Schneider is going to listen to him. And, and him and John could start seeing eye to eye on things. They could see a player, and they'd be like, oh, you like that? I see that too. So, well, you never know. I mean, it's behind the scenes. So, here, I got to let my cat out real quick. Sorry about that. But it's cool. Like, we'll see, because it's it's behind the scenes and we won't ever really know. Maybe if a beat reporter reports on that and it shows that these guys really are on the same page, that'd be great. Especially since this is just year 2 of his tenure here. Yeah, so he was in Mobile, Alabama, watching some of this year's top draft prospects at the Senior Bowl, and it's better to always see them in person because. Like Mike always says, it's about feeling them, and it's feeling their impact. I think there's a chance he might say that here. Just feel who they are, yeah, without them always being on their best behavior when they're in a meeting or something. So, but I will say this for John Schneider, this year's drafting situation and free agency situation could decide his time in Seattle. So we'll see. He's done a good job so far, and he's put together winning teams. We just haven't won the playoffs in a few years, and I think that's fine. We need a new approach, and it takes time for that to happen. So, we'll see what happens here. I would assume that their main focus is on O-line and trying to see who they can get. I hope that they know what to do. I'm trusting that they know what to do. I mean, we went 10-7 in our first season, which I predicted that, by the way. But that's really great to see from our head coach. He's 37 years old, one of the young. I think he's one of the youngest, if not the youngest, still in the league, and that's just great to see all around. Like, I knew this was the right decision when we hired this guy, and even if it doesn't pan out in the end, the way that he puts himself out there and always wants to do the absolute maximum to make sure he gets the team what he wants. That's a good trait to have, and eventually, if you land in the very, very good position, if there is a position that is even better than Seattle in the future, I'm hoping that he's not going to leave Seattle, of course. But I'm just saying, if he lands in a better position in the future, he could potentially win a ring as a coach. I see the fire in this guy's eyes, and how much he wants to. And I'm hoping, like I said, I know it's going to be with us. I just have a feeling it's going to be with us. So, but even though I talked about the good stuff, I have to talk about something that's not so good. So, we are in a bad spot. This is actually the one I got to look at. We have the third highest negative salary cap. That's not good. But we will try to counteract that. There's going to be some huge cut candidates. I'm going to tell you right off the bat who is going to be, like, tier 1 cut candidate is Tyler Lockett, Draymond Jones, and potentially Rayshawn Jenkins. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get cut this year, especially from the previous regime. But the top the top two, like another like tier two, I think Geno is a cut candidate. There's a chance that Uchenna Nwosu is a cut candidate. I mean, a lot of these guys really aren't cut candidates. Walker, no. Derek Hall, no. Like, some of these guys could be cut candidates, except for Tyrese Knight. This guy could be a cut candidate. Cameron Young, there's a chance. Bradford could. I doubt Lucas will, but we'll see. But we have to cut a lot of people, because $27 million under is not good. It's not a good position to be in. Geno obviously takes king there. If we cut him pre-June 1st, it doesn't matter when we cut him, we will save $31 million in cap space. But I don't think we're going to cut Geno. So, Tyler Lockett said we would save $17 million. That would be a huge help. I really don't want to cut Tyler Lockett, but we all know it. It's pretty much coming. We'll see what happens, but it's like a 95% chance that he's going to get cut. So, and then another thing is Draymond Jones. We cut these two, and we'll already be good. So we just got to cut a couple players, and we'll be over the cap. But man, I think if we want to have even more cap, we're gonna have to cut people like Uchenna Nwosu. We might have to cut Roy Robertson Harris. Sorry, I think I might have said Robert Harrison in the past. That's my fault. We're not cutting Julian Love because he's important. There's a chance we cut George Fant. Like, there are just some people there is even a chance Sam Howell goes. Like, you never know. So but the goal is to get. The goal is to get above this number, of course. And like I said, cutting the way to solve that is to cut Tyler Lockett and to cut Draymond Jones. Those are the two biggest pieces, or the two pieces that'll give you the most money out of cutting them. Geno Smith, obviously, if you cut him, it already solves your issue, but I don't think Geno's going to go. So DK's not going to get cut. He could get traded. I mean, he's in the trade rumors, and I don't really know how to feel about him getting traded. I mean, it depends on the haul we get, but I do want having DK on the team. He hasn't been the receiver that we wanted him to, but he does give us production and gives us 1,000 yards, if not near 1,000-yard seasons every year. So I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt. We'll see what happens though. This is pretty bad, but this is doable. We can get out of this, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And yeah, so also that's good to see that we got two more people. Jackson Smith-Njigba, he made his first ever career Pro Bowl in his second ever season. This dude, I mean, yes, it's an alternate, but it still counts all the same. So it still appears in your resume. So that's really good to see. He deserves it. He had a great year this year. And I think he will continue breaking out in this league next year, especially under Clint Kubiak, who I feel like, since he has experience, he's going to be less likely to keep making the same mistakes that Ryan Grill would keep making. So, and another thing about Kubiak is he values balancing the run game and pass game, and he does the most under center snaps of any. He does the most under center snaps of any offensive coordinator in the league, or at least one of the most. And I think he's like top 5 in that percentage wise. And that can actually help Geno, because it gives Geno more space to create himself a pocket when he is under center, because he takes a lot more steps back. That's fine, because he can use his legs, but at times. So I feel like this would be a good opportunity for Geno to bounce back. Maybe we'll see what happens. Like I said, and even here's another thing. Before Derek Carr got hurt last year, he had 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So that's actually, that gives me confidence that he can, and Geno is arguably better than Derek Carr, at least as of late. So that's good to see, and we can see that Kubiak does do well with quarterbacks, and we need another guy that can cater to Geno's strengths and weaknesses, and his strengths are his arm and his limited playmaking ability, and his weaknesses is he sometimes holds onto the ball too long. That's not always his fault. Like I said, I think Ryan Grubb's scheming was part of the cause of that, but we have to get rid of the ball quicker, and I think Kubiak can be the person for that. A lot of people think this is a nepotism hire. It may be, but this guy does have a play calling experience in the league. This would be his third official season as an offensive coordinator, so he has play calling experience, and that's what we're looking for. We're not looking, I guess, even if we did hire Hank Fraley, that guy would have no play calling experience, so we would just be hiring a guy out of the blue. So I like what we've done the past couple of weeks. I like what I saw from Mike McDonald. And this is a good start to the offseason. And, the Super Bowl is a week from today. And then after that, the new league year starts. And I think a month after that or something like that, if not right after. And we're going to be going. So the NFL draft's going to be in like a 2.5 months. So we'll see what happens there. But I think that this is a good start to the offseason. And, we found our guy at offensive coordinator. Let's hope he is the guy, and we don't have to keep cycling through them every couple of years. If he leaves, I want it to be so that he's getting a head coaching job. That means he did a good job here. But I hope that would not be for a few years if he is good. So, but yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. I'll probably be making another video after the Super Bowl, probably whenever the new league year starts, or if anything else happens related to the Seahawks. Maybe I'll make a preview video for the Mariners. I probably try to get to a Kraken because I got to make more videos on them. So stay tuned for that. But if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more Seahawks and Seattle sports content. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good day. And go Hawks, go Mariners, and go Kraken.